Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
For a fourth day, fire crews are trying to contain the Valley Fire burning in East County. And now, Santa Ana winds are just adding to the challenge. Good evening. It's Tuesday, September 8th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Anita Sharma. First, it was the heat. Now, dangerous winds threaten to make an already destructive situation worse. Here are the latest numbers from CAL FIRE. The Valley Fire burning south of Alpine is just 3% contained. The size is more than 17,000 acres. Some of that is in the Cleveland National Forest. Today, the Forest Service explained why they've closed a large swath of forest land. We also heard from County Supervisor Diane Jacob, whose district covers the fire zone.
Enacted a closure order for all National Forest lands from the Cleveland National Forest north all the way to the Stanislaus National Forest, which borders Yosemite in the center of the state. This measure was not taken lightly. It was taken explicitly to address the potential for additional starts with this wind event impending.
We've been here before, and I just hope and pray that we don't see something like we saw in 1970, in 2003, and in 2007. But it's clear the potential is out there for a very dangerous situation. The Santa Ana winds move a fire very, very fast, as we have seen here in San Diego, and they're expected to hit the hardest in the middle of the night. That's not the time to make an evacuation plan.
Temperatures have cooled off from those sweltering weekend highs, but as you heard from Supervisor Jacob, now the wind is an issue. We'll have more on that a bit later in our forecast, but first, let's go to KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman. He's live at CAL FIRE headquarters in Rancho San Diego and met with a family who lost their home. Matt, what can you tell us?
Anita, this Valley Fire has turned so many San Diegans' lives upside down. We know already at least 36 structures have burned, and we know that includes some homes out here in the East County area. Now, we had a chance to talk to one gentleman who lost everything in this fire, and he says there was just no stopping the flames.
It was coming so hot, it's like a blast torch coming out of there.
Hamul resident Irving Beeman says the fast-moving Valley Fire quickly overtook his property Saturday.
Those flames were over 200 feet tall. And it was like a bonfire from the top of the ridge all the way to the other side of the valley. Just insane. I couldn't look at it. It was so hot. I'm like covering my face because it felt like it was burning me. I thought I was going to catch fire just getting the hell out of here.
The home Beeman shared with his wife since 2000 is now completely burned to the ground, along with a barn, some vehicles, and a granny flat. The loss of so much so fast hasn't really hit him yet.
I don't know whether it's really sunk in. I haven't cried. I woke up the last 2 nights with my wife. I'm hearing her crying in bed, and it's just like, it's unfathomable. You just never think it's going to happen to you, I guess.
In what some are calling a heroic act, Beeman's neighbor used pool water to put out hotspots over the weekend. Neighbors say likely saving homes.
5-gallon jugs out of the jacuzzi, emptied the whole jacuzzi, and then started taking from my water tanks I have up on the hill and run around with 3-wheelers and putting as much out as I could. I know the Beemans real good. I grew up with their kids and friends, and I saw their house was gone before I got here.
Beeman and his wife are now staying with their son in Ramona. They plan to rebuild here in Hamul, but fear they've already lost too much.
Everything in my house reminded me of something. The reason I didn't get rid of it, because they kept my memories going. When you get old, you lose your memories. One of the things that if you have something to jog those memories, then you can bring them back. All those things are gone. I worry that all those pleasant things that you want to remember in your golden years and stuff, I probably won't be able to remember a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, now in a very emotional time for some of those residents, really just trying to pick up the pieces right now after this fire just came in so fast and so quickly and just destroyed their homes. Now, the Beemans in that story, they do have a GoFundMe set up that has already raised thousands of dollars as they try to figure out their next move. They say they're just so thankful for the community support during this uncertain time. And CAL FIRE officials, they say their number one priority right now as this fire continues to rage on is protecting life and property. Here at the CAL FIRE headquarters, Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Matt, you know there are strong winds expected tonight. How are residents preparing?
Yeah, Anita, they're expecting 40 to 50 mile an hour winds starting around 8 o'clock and then continuing overnight into the next morning. Now, a lot of these residents are just hoping that the fire doesn't loop back around and get their homes. Where we were earlier over there in Hamul, the gentleman who was using the pool water, his home largely untouched. Now, he did lose some vehicles, some motorcycles, but he's just hoping that the fire doesn't loop back around. But if it does, he had his water tank filled up, so he's ready if he needs to go out there and put out some of these hot spots that might come up. But people just hoping also. The SDG&E warning us this evening, we just found out that up to 16,000 people may lose their power today or tomorrow as this fire continues to burn and burn near their electrical equipment.
Thank you for that report, Matt. Now to the weather and the windy Santa Ana conditions that will last through the night. Mark Mancuso updates us on the latest advisories and has our extended forecast.
Poor air quality, areas of smoke continue in our area. We'll be looking at abundant sunshine, temperatures on the rise the next couple of days, as we'll see some strong winds, Santa Ana wind event from tonight into Wednesday. But during the day Wednesday, the winds will start to diminish some later in the afternoon, and we'll see lighter winds in the forecast. We are still looking at critical fire conditions here right into Wednesday, the dry conditions and the winds on the increase right into Wednesday. And with that, we do have red flag warnings in place. These continue into Wednesday, so conditions are favorable for fires to quickly ignite and spread. And we're keeping a close eye on the Valley Fire near Alpine. You know, it started on September the 4th, containment coming up just a little, but not much. So far, 11 structures destroyed. There's been power outages too. Evacuations stay in place. No big changes on any of these evacuation orders. And of course, we have poor air quality around that area of the fire. And the big concern is with the wind on the increase, there's plenty of fuel for this fire to feed off of. So this is going to continue to be a significant concern. Now, looking at tonight, temperatures drop down to low 60s. Oceanside, San Diego is at 68. As we take a look at tomorrow, the winds will be with us, especially in the morning hours. Interior valleys, the mountains, strong winds, and those winds could gust up to 50 miles an hour. Take a look at our temperatures. They'll be starting to rise. Escondido is at 90, 92 El Cajon, Borrego Springs 95, and Mount Laguna 73. So there is some cooling coming in from the east, but when the air comes down off the mountains, it sinks and warms. So we see a little warm up here, and then temperatures will back off a little bit towards the weekend. Looking at the inland areas, well, temperatures will be on the rise over the weekend, not quite as warm. And as we head our way into the mountains, it cools off a bit. And after the winds die down, it should be pleasant. And in the desert areas, we see some cooling, but then it starts to warm up by the weekend. And for KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Mark Mancuso.
The fires around the state are happening as National Preparedness Month gets underway. Today, San Diego leaders unveiled a plan to keep the most at-risk communities up to date with critical emergency information. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayer has more on the program called Listos, California.
National Preparedness Month is recognized each September to promote family and community disaster planning now and throughout the year. Supervisor Kristen Gaspar says each family should have a plan in an emergency situation.
The state has created a 5-step plan called Listos, California to help you assemble the necessary items you will need, as well as mentally prepare you to take quick action should the time come.
Fire season is no longer just a season in California. It is year-round. Flames are currently ravaging every region of our state, including San Diego County.
Currently, there are 25 major fires burning in California, with one of those being here in San Diego. Over 2.2 million acres have burned, 3,000 structures have been destroyed, and most sadly is 8 people have lost their lives.
Experts remind people to review their emergency plans in light of the COVID-19 public health orders, as more family members may be home during the times they previously would have been at work or school. Through Listos, California, San Diego County received $20 million in state grants to help get emergency information to at-risk communities.
I am encouraging our working class communities like mine in National City and South County to get ready and make a plan for that unexpected emergency or disaster.
There are a number of preventative measures San Diegans can take to help keep their families, pets, homes, and businesses safe. For more information on the 5 steps to prepare for emergency situations, go to listoscalifornia.org. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
2020 is a record-breaking year for fires in California. More than 2 million acres have burned, the most we've ever seen. Here's Governor Gavin Newsom today on the magnitude of the challenge facing firefighters and communities across California.
118,000 acres were burned in 2019 by this time last year. You can see close to just shy of 2.3 million acres have been burned this year. Historic is a term we seemingly often use here in the state of California, but these numbers bear fruit to that assertion that this is historic.
Among the fires burning tonight is the Creek Fire. That's in the Sierra National Forest north of Fresno. Fire crews from the Bay Area were called in to help and took these pictures of some of the homes destroyed by flames. Here in Southern California, the El Dorado fire is still burning in San Bernardino County. Kara Finstrom has more on the heroic work by firefighters there.
Fire crews are continuing to aggressively attack this fire, which is burning in nearby hillsides and standing by ready to protect nearby homes and businesses.
Wishing well, where people could throw their money, make wishes, that's gone.
Precious Dykstra lost one of the structures in her family's 15-acre mountain resort and petting zoo when flames raced through the Yucaipa area this weekend.
It was Betsy's barn, and it was going to be, we're putting in a 300-foot slide.
But Dykstra says all the animals got out safely. And still standing are a mom-and-pop candy store, a bakery with the pies and pastry baked Saturday morning, and these shops and live entertainment areas. The Oak Tree Mountain Resort has been in her family for 3 generations.
It's here. So, they did a good job.
The El Dorado wildfire has also forced thousands of evacuations in several other communities. Investigators believe it sparked in a park Saturday when a family used pyrotechnics to shoot a gender reveal announcement. CAL FIRE investigators say those family members did try to put out the flames, but now they could face numerous charges, including the reckless lighting of a fire, and they could be liable for losses and firefighting costs. Dykstra is incredibly grateful to the crews who camped out in front of her resort all night long, but worries about what the fire might do today and tomorrow.
Today, I think you're going to be okay. It's tomorrow with the Santa Anas.
SDG&E has alerted backcountry residents that it may have to turn off power in the coming days to reduce wildfire risks. You can find all of our weather coverage online at kpbs.org, and we'll have another update on the Valley Fire later in the forecast. Late-breaking developments today in work to develop a COVID-19 vaccine. AstraZeneca, the pharmaceutical company working with a university in the UK, is putting its work on a temporary hold as it looks into a case of a patient with a serious side effect. That same trial was due to collaborate with UC San Diego, which is currently in the middle of an unrelated vaccine trial. Locally, the county just updated its numbers. There are more than 41,000 positive cases since March, with an additional 427 cases since Sunday. 2 additional deaths brings that number to 709. San Diego State University is telling students they must stay in their current residences until next Monday. The stay-at-home order was set to expire this morning. As John Carroll reports, the university extended it following rising cases of COVID-19 among students on and off campus.
Things looked pretty desolate on the SDSU campus today. The approximately 2,600 students that have returned for the fall semester seem to be following the extended stay-at-home order. As of the writing of this story, the university had yet to release updated COVID numbers. On Monday, they confirmed another 63 confirmed or probable cases, raising the total to 286 since the semester began August 24th.
My bigger worry is that after this weekend, they won't be able to house us safely here anymore.
Sophomore Caitlin Robinson told our media partner 10 News her fear stems in part from what happened to her and every other student living in the dorms this past March.
Last year, things changed really fast, and they moved us out of the residence halls really, really quickly, really suddenly, without much warning. So I think those of us who were here last year are kind of on edge.
San Diego State's Vice President for Student Affairs and Campus Diversity, J. Luke Wood, says the school is working with a private security company to enforce health code violations. He says the school had issued a total of 457 student violations through last Friday afternoon. Wood says the school is serious about getting a handle on the situation. He says punishment for students who violate the rules could range from suspension to expulsion. Last night, the university said the number of cases at SDSU remained relatively low compared with other similar-sized universities across the nation. The big, unsettling question now is whether it will remain that way. John Carroll, KPBS News.
SDSU isn't the only school dealing with an uptick in cases. With just a few weeks into a new school year, we're already seeing how COVID-19 is playing out on campuses. Brian Todd shows us some of the issues popping up around the country.
The University of West Virginia suspending more than 24 students and shifting most classes to online only following a weekend of holiday parties. As many students from college age to kindergarten start classes in earnest following Labor Day, an alarming new report adds to the concern among top doctors about COVID cases among children. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Children's Hospital Association, COVID cases among children shot up more than 17% between August 13th and 27th, with more than 70,000 new child cases in that time span across the U.S.
We know that there have been numerous outbreaks on those college campuses, leading to hundreds of cases on even individual campuses. So I think that this is really in the context of kids acting a little bit less safe, and as well as the college campuses and the K-12s opening.
Video obtained by CNN shows a large outdoor gathering at Penn State University recently, many students not wearing masks or distancing. It prompted a stern warning from the university's president, bluntly asking students, quote, "Do you want to be the person responsible for sending everyone home?"
Right now, the key to Penn State staying open is the behavior of every single one of us.
At Ohio State University, more than 200 students were recently suspended for breaking the school's COVID-19 rules on socializing. And NC State University recently announced it's reducing its on-campus housing population because of a rising number of coronavirus cases there. In Georgia, Mississippi, and Utah, thousands of students and hundreds of teachers have recently been asked to quarantine because of exposure to coronavirus. Experts say the increase in child cases could also be a result of more children being tested in recent months. The new report says despite the climbing numbers, severe illness from the virus is still rare among children.
The bad news is that when a child gets sick with COVID-19 and winds up in the hospital, 1 in 3 of those children needs the ICU because of how severely ill that they get with the disease, especially if they have a whole body inflammatory response where their immune system just really goes out of control and causes widespread illness.
Experts say even with this new information, there's still at least one crucial set of data that is unknown regarding children and the virus.
What we still don't understand is how much kids are a vector for this and how much they are the index case in a given household. So in fact, we don't know how much kids transmit this disease.
We are now just 8 weeks from Election Day. We've already seen some notable endorsements in the presidential race between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And now a person with a complicated history with the former vice president is lending her support. Gloria Borger spoke with Anita Hill.
Professor, do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Was it scary? Oh, it was terrifying.
He would call me into his office.
It's been nearly 30 years since Anita Hill testified before a now infamous Senate Judiciary hearing led by Joe Biden. She has come to a surprising conclusion.
Who would you like to see elected in November?
I think Joe Biden is a person who should be elected in November.
And that's not all.
Would you be willing to work with him?
Yes. My commitment is to finding solutions. And I am more than willing to work with him.
I was very uncomfortable with the idea.
Hill became a household name, testifying before the all-male committee during the Supreme Court confirmation of Clarence Thomas.
Judge Thomas began to use work situations to discuss sex.
Hill claimed Thomas sexually harassed her when she worked for him at the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Thomas vehemently denied those accusations.
As a Black American, as far as I'm concerned, it is a high-tech lynching.
He was confirmed to the Supreme Court after Biden led the fight against him.
Some say you let the Republicans kind of take over.
I don't think I did, but the point was I wish I could have done it differently under the rules.
In early 2019, just weeks before Joe Biden launched his campaign for president, Hill got a phone call.
I have apologized to Anita Hill. I wish I could have done better for her. The truth is, I believed her, and I believed he should not be in the court.
You called the phone call unsatisfying.
He didn't take responsibility. He didn't hold himself accountable in any way except that he was sorry that I felt I wasn't treated fairly.
But Hill says she's been watching this election closely, and Biden seems to be taking more responsibility now. For her, that's enough.
This is not just about me. It's not just about Joe Biden. It's about millions of people in this country and around the world that we can be a model for. And I would love to be a part of that. And if it means voting for Joe Biden, so be it.
As for President Trump, he spent the day in his home state of Florida. He spoke to supporters in the town of Jupiter about his environmental record and signed an extension of his moratorium on offshore drilling along parts of the East Coast. Tonight, he will appear at a campaign rally in North Carolina. An NBC News poll out today shows the president tied with Joe Biden in what will prove to be a critical swing state. KPBS will be ramping up our local election coverage in the weeks ahead. Click on the Election 2020 banner at kpbs.org to find our most up-to-date reports. And mark your calendars for the KPBS Voter Guide, an online resource for this year's ballot, launching October 5th.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, California burning. Millions of acres remain on fire as tens of thousands of people lose power and new evacuations are ordered. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Let's go back to the developing story tonight in East County. The Valley Fire continues to burn near Alpine, now in its 4th day. The latest update from CAL FIRE puts the fire at more than 17,000 acres. It's just 3% contained. There is major concern tonight that Santa Ana winds will make the situation worse. Some evacuation orders are in place. Earlier today, Poway Mayor Steve Voss talked about help for people and their animals.
There are 2 shelters where they can be taken. Large animals can go to Oak Canyon Ranch at 12310 Campo Road. Smaller animals can go to the Bonita shelter. Just this morning, in a worst case, I've spoken to Lakeside Rodeo Grounds and Poway Rodeo Grounds. If things get bad, they will be ready. They're not open yet, but they will be ready to open.
Mayor Voss also says people with small pets are welcome at Steel Canyon High School and Joan McQueen Middle School, which are the designated evacuation centers. This video is from the San Diego Humane Society. Its emergency response team is accepting donations of animal supplies at Oak Canyon Ranch on Campo Road in Spring Valley. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman is live at CAL FIRE headquarters in Rancho San Diego. Let's check back in with him for another update. Matt?
Yeah, Amitha, all that progress that's been made by fire crews over the last few days since this valley fire got started, it could get worse before it gets better. Now, that's going to be because of Santa Ana winds that are expected to hit this area starting at around 8 o'clock tonight and bringing winds up to 50 miles an hour. Now, when this fire first broke out on Saturday, we were seeing wind speeds of about 20 miles an hour, so more than double the expected wind speed. So it could throw a loop for firefighters. But I do want to show you what this fire looks like. We've seen some of the destruction that it's already left in its wake. We know that 3 dozen structures have been destroyed and or knocked down. Some of those are homes, as you're seeing right here. This is in Jamul. Earlier today, CAL FIRE crews just starting to go out there and sort of assess some of this damage. Now, they are asking people to keep their drones away and keep off roads in the area so that crews can go out there, especially if there's a hot spot that they need to hit up. Lots of air support has been hitting this fire, assisting some 600 firefighters on the ground. Now, keep in mind, while we're out here, there could be some power outages. SDG&E saying around 16,000 people may have their power turned off because of this fire. We'll see if the wind impacts any of these people and their homes. Here in El Cajon, Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Thank you, Matt. Here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. Morning edition will have the latest information on the Valley Fire as we're expecting windy weather, especially in East County overnight. And on midday edition, we've heard a lot about flex alerts lately, but is going solar a good idea? What industry experts say local homeowners need to know before making that investment. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us and have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley. And by the following: and by viewers like you. Thank you.